In today's video, we're going to show you how to create a curved corner for your wall panelling using our special flexible panelling moulding from Skirting for You. First, we need to create a template to mould our panelling to. We're going to use a solid MDF board for this. So, to start, we want to add a right angle 50mm in from the edge of our board and then mark a line for the radius of our curve. In this case, we're marking 125mm from the corner. We're then transferring these measurements to a wooden batten, which we'll attach a trommel headset to, so we can map out our radius on the MDF board. The 125mm mark is our internal cut, and as our panelling is 35mm wide, we're making another mark at 160mm to get our external cut. Add our pivot point Dremel head to our outer edge of our right angle marking, and then add our marked Dremel head to the inner edge of the internal marking. Then check to see that our measurement is 125mm from each point. Now place the pivot point of our Dremel head on the MDF board, the corner of our right angle marking. From each side of our right angle, create our 125mm radius. Once marked, slide our marker Dremel head to the inner of the external marking. Then transfer this radius as we did for our internal radius. Now we want to mark the width of our panelling along the side of our right angle and mark down to our external radius. Join our panelling width and right angle markings together to create an angle, then use a protractor to find what our angle is. In this instance, our angle is 48 degrees. We will need this angle later to mitre our end pieces. We then want to mark out where our radius ends so that we don't continue cutting our radius when routering out our template, as we will want our panelling to continue on a straight run. Now we need to create a guide for our router that will be used to pivot when making our cuts. On a separate piece of MDF, attach our router central to the end of the board by marking the 3 points corresponding precisely to the router's base, cutting a hole with a flat wood drill bit for our cutter to sit through. Now we need to add our fixing point for our internal and external cuts, following the same process. So mark each side of where our cutter is sitting, then mark our internal cut, which is 125mm from the inner marking. Then for our external cut, which was 160mm, measure from the outer marking of our cutter. Mark the centre of each marking to outline where our fixing points are located. Pilot hole our fixing points and our router guide is ready. Back on our template, make a pilot hole to the corner of our right angle. Before we router out our sections, make sure that our template is fixed into position. We can now start to router out our angles by fixing our internal radius to our template, making sure that it's not over tightened, allowing our router guide to move freely. Align our router to our internal radius on our template and then router out our section, only routering to where our radius ends. Repeat the same process for our external radius. Once complete, we have a perfect routed out section for each radius. Then, to remove each section of our template, mark a straight run of where our radius ends to remove the middle section, removing this section by using a saw. Once removed, sand away any uneven edges to ensure that we have an even curve. What we are left with is two curved sections that we can now use to bend our flexible material. Using a heat gun, heat our flexible material in a nice even motion to spread the heat evenly until the material turns into a rubber-like state. Once heated, use our two template cutouts to mould our material into place. Fix the template into position and allow the material to cool down. This can take up to around about 30 minutes or until the material is cool to the touch. Once cooled, remove our panelling from our template. We can now mitre our ends by using the angle we found earlier, which in this instance was 48 degrees. Mark our angle for reference along the straight run of our moulding and make our cuts. We can then use MDF panelling to join each end of our curved material by cutting to the opposite angle, then adding a thin bead of adhesive along the back of our MDF panelling, applying some wood joining glue to each end, placing our MDF panelling into position and then fix into place using a nail gun. Repeating this same process until we have completed a unique piece of decorative panelling. For more tutorials, tips and tricks, consider subscribing to our channel and pressing the bell icon so that you don't miss any of our latest videos. We hope this video helped, and we'll see you in the next one.